Ethan loved running every day after school, feeling the thrill of the wind against his face and the freedom that came with every stride. The school track field was his favorite place, where he could let loose and race with his friends, pushing himself to his limits. Among all his friends, Mason was the one Ethan admired the most. Mason wasn't just fast, he was the fastest runner in the entire school. Each loss began to weigh on Ethan. It wasn't that he didn't love running anymore, but losing to Mason every time made him feel like he wasn't good enough. Slowly, discouragement crept in, and Ethan started to wonder if it was worth trying at all. One day, his coach, Mr. Carter, noticed Ethan sitting alone on the bleachers after practice, staring at the track. With a knowing smile, Coach Carter sat beside him and said, "Ethan, the race isn't about Mason or anyone else. It's about you. Stop trying to beat others. Focus on beating your own best time." Those words stuck with Ethan. That night, he decided to change his mindset. Instead of worrying about Mason, he would focus on himself. The next day, Ethan brought a stopwatch to the track and started timing his runs. Every practice session became a personal challenge. Ethan wasn't just running anymore. He was chasing his own best. As Ethan stopped comparing himself to Mason, he began to enjoy the process more. He noticed how his endurance improved, how his strides felt stronger, and how his confidence grew with each session. The day of the big race finally arrived. Ethan took his place at the starting line, surrounded by cheering spectators and his fellow runners. This time, he wasn't thinking about Mason or anyone else. His only focus was on running his best race yet. The starting gun fired, and Ethan surged forward. He felt his legs working in perfect rhythm, his breathing steady, and his determination unshakable. The world around him blurred as he focused solely on his pace and the finish line ahead. When he crossed the finish line, Ethan immediately looked at the timer. His heart leaped with pride. He had achieved his fastest time ever. Mason still came in first, but that didn't matter. Ethan had accomplished something far more meaningful. Mason approached him after the race with a smile and said, "Great job out there, Ethan." Ethan smiled back, realizing that winning against Mason was no longer the goal. He had won the race against himself. From that day on, Ethan embraced the philosophy that growth comes from within. Each run was an opportunity to improve, and every small victory became a step towards something greater. Ethan learned that the most fulfilling competition is not with others, but with the person you were yesterday.